I got you.
Good afternoon. I'd like to call this September 24th, 2024 meeting of the City of Charleston's Committee on Ways and Means meeting to order. We'll begin by asking Councilmember Mitchell to give us an invocation.
Let's bow our heads. Most gracious God, as we come here to do business with the residents of the city of Charleston, let us be mindful of what we're here to do. Let us also be mindful we're not here for any personal gains. We are here to do things that's pleasing in your sight and not our sight. And let us all remember people who is down on their luck right now and don't have. And that's one thing that we are here to assist them in any way we possibly can in the city of Charleston. Not to throw them away, but they're also part of this community. So we have to be mindful of that. And I'm asking you, if we're not doing it, then you deal with us in your way. Please bless and ask in your name. Amen.
All right, second order of business, approval of minutes from September 10th, 2024. Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Item number 3, bids and purchases.
Move for approval.
Moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? Councilmember Parker.
What are these for?
I don't have my iPad in front of me. Bids and purchases. There was one item on bids and purchases this week. I'll go grab it.
Isn't that,
Yeah, do we have staff that can give us a report on the solar powered trash cans? Mr. O'Brien?
gotcha. Okay, so got it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. O'Brien. Moved and properly seconded. We just had discussion. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. Item number 4, budget finance and revenue collections, approval to extend the T2 contract for 74 days in the amount of $23,337.86 to complete the implementation of this Flowbird Duncan software. Moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. Item number 5, BFRC, approval of the healthcare budget for 2025. The ASO amendment for 2025 with Cigna Healthcare and the amended stop loss policy in the amount of $26,715,465.
Move for approval.
Moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? Councilman Mitchell.
Yeah, I stand abstaining on that as I did in the meeting, and I'm doing it here on council also.
Thank you, Mr. Mitchell. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Items number 6 through 10 are all.
I make a motion to take 6 through
10.
9, 10.
Yeah.
Together?
All related to Moja Arts.
Second.
We moved and properly seconded to take items 6 through 10 together. Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it.
Move for approval.
Moved and properly seconded to approve items 6 through 10. Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Item number 11, Clerk of Council, approval to accept the 2024 to 2025 Historical Records Regrant Program in the
Move for
amount of
approval.
$10,000.
Second.
Moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? City match is $2,500. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Item number 12, Livability and Tourism, approval to accept the grant award for the
Move for
Bloomberg
approval.
Office of Innovation. Moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Item 13,
for
Community
approval.
Services.
Second.
All right, moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Item number 14, Stormwater Management, approval of the mediated settlement agreement for acquisition of 19.74 acres for the Barbary Woods Drainage Improvement Project.
Move for approval.
$2.2 million.
Second.
Moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Item number 15, approval of the Ashley River Crossing Professional
Move for
Services
approval.
Contract, HDR Construction Control, $6,732,427.04. Moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any
Nay.
opposed? Right,
So
one
for
nay.
the record, there's one nay, Councilmember Parker.
Right. All right, item number 16, approval of the mayor to execute, on behalf of the city of Charleston, a second amendment to the grant
for
agreement
approval.
for Ashley River
Second.
Pedestrian Bridge. Moved and properly seconded. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? One nay, Councilmember Parker.
One nay, Councilmember Parker.
Item number 17, approval of the contract amendment with JMT in the amount of $273,917 to complete the full design of the Ashley River Bridge Walk.
Move for approval.
Second.
Moved and properly seconded. Any, all those in favor, any discussion?
Yeah, I just had a question about this item and some of the design funding for the Riverwalk and some of the new changes on the city side. I've received a lot of communication from folks wanting to know a little bit more about how this came about. I know there was a discussion at TNT, but I thought it'd be a good idea for us to talk about that on the record. Specifically, what, if any, changes have been made on the B Lockwood intersection and how that could impact the ability for bicyclists coming over from West Ashley to directly access the medical center. I'd just like to get some more information on that if possible from the mayor or staff or whomever.
Yeah, I'm glad to answer that. We had a good discussion on it in TNT. And we are, well, let me answer the question first. The original design for the Arc Bridge did land and crosses the slip lane at Lockwood, goes to the triangular island in between Lockwood, the slip lane, and B Street. And then bike ped would be looking to cross B Street either to the east or to the north. If you wanted to go south, you would just pick up the sidewalk and go to the south on Lockwood. And so what we're looking at doing, and one of the reasons why this whole conversation started, if you'll bear with me, was that three reasons. One, I personally had some concerns about the safety of the slip lane crossing because people do go very fast around that slip lane. And two, it's very congested in that area, particularly at B Street intersection and the slip lane at rush hour traffic and other times of the day. And adding a crosswalk there, I think, especially around, in essence, a blind turn, could be problematic and dangerous. But the other issues that I had concerns over were the northern access points to Brittlebank and having to cross the crosstown. And then lastly, the Army Corps analysis that has been underway, and the bridge and the design associated with it and the elevation where it was didn't contemplate any sort of perimeter protection, be it a wall, be it a battery, whatever. And so I didn't want to see, a very expensive federally funded project built one day and then a few years later have to be rebuilt because where they intersected didn't take into consideration the resulting elevations, right? So there needed to be some design considerations there. Couple that with an existing permit that we have for the Riverwalk and how that might tie into these two improvements. You wanted to make sure it was just all thought out. And so we've met with federal DOT, we've met with state DOT, we've come up with different ideas and considerations. And while it is not finalized, we are coming close to, I think, some pretty positive solutions that would not delay the Arc Bridge or access onto the peninsula or West Ashley, or cost more for the Arc Bridge project. It would actually, in all likelihood, result in some sort of discount to that. What exactly those numbers are and how they would tie into the Riverwalk, which would give you access, and we had a map up, which I'm happy to share with council, underneath the Ashley River Bridge to Brittlebank Park, and then down to the city marina. And then Councilmember Seekings made the point that he'd still like to look at if there are options for the B Street crossing, and how that might be accomplished either through the Riverwalk or the Arc Bridge, and not taking any discount or any credit on it. So a very healthy discussion, I felt. Again, we're very focused on making sure that the Arc Bridge is not delayed for any of the federal funding or state funding or our funding. Again, is not jeopardized in any way, shape, or form. And then Councilman Brady made a really good point, and I'll leave it here, was that when we talk about the funding, because it is an expensive project, it's important to remind constituents that this funding, federal and state, is for bike ped improvements only. It isn't like this was funding that we took from a bridge or a road widening somewhere that could be allocated towards that. Instead, it's allocated here. It is only earmarked for bike ped improvements. So again, healthy discussion. Happy to share that with everyone, and more information on that to come.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just very briefly, a couple of follow-ups on that from our discussion of earlier today. When it comes in terms of funding, absent the Riverwalk, the project pencils out about $80 million, of which in the end, 9 of those $80 million are city monies. The rest are coming from other sources, including a big hunk from the state, which we fought very hard for, as you will recall. It was a big battle to get it. Secondly, I'm not sure we've mentioned this, that where we are right now, we're going to break ground on this project sometime in the next 30 to 60 days. So the project is a reality. Certainly some details to pencil out to make sure it is what we contemplated and it is safe as it can be. But it's happening, and it's kind of hard to believe for some of us who have been around here since the first time we started talking about it 15 years ago, that this project would be a reality, and city's getting an incredible deal based on the cost of construction versus the amount of monies the taxpayers of the city of Charleston are putting towards it. So, but more to come. We're not forgetting that there's still some details to be addressed.
Okay, any other discussion? All right, all those in favor of item number 17, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? 1 nay. Councilmember Parker. That concludes our agenda. Anything else to come before this committee?